This is USVI News, your Virgin Islands connection.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for USVI News. I'm Emily Matson. A St. Croix man is facing charges for allegedly duping people out of tens of thousands of dollars. The VIPD's Economic Crime Unit arrested 46-year-old Kenneth Springer of Catherine's Rest. He turned himself into police this week after he learned there was an active warrant out for his arrest. Investigators say Springer falsely claimed to be a contractor back in March of 2007. He obtained money from 3 different people, according to police, totaling more than $77,000. And of course, he never did any work. He's facing lots of charges, including grand larceny, obtaining money by false pretense, and forgery. He's in jail under a $75,000 bond. Private businesses with more than 100 employees now have until January 4th to ensure their workforces are either fully vaccinated or tested weekly. And there are some very steep fines for any violations. The new federal requirements cover about 2/3 of the nation's private sector workforce. Reporter Alice Barr has the very latest from Washington.
With a new January 4th deadline in place, the clock is now ticking for companies with 100 or more employees to get their workers fully vaccinated or tested every week. The new federal regulations affecting roughly 84 million people follow an executive order from President Biden in September.
This is not about freedom or personal choice. It's about protecting yourself and those around you.
Any employer failing to meet the requirements could face nearly $14,000 in fines for each worker who's out of compliance. Unvaccinated employees have to cover the costs of their own weekly testing. The mandates have touched off protests.
I don't believe that the government has any right to be involved in my medical decisions.
With several Republican-controlled states vowing to fight the rules in court. But many employers embrace the requirements.
Anything that we can put in place that's going to make people feel more secure to come and visit my store is the best thing for my store.
The White House says more than 3,500 businesses, hospitals, schools, and local governments already have mandates in place, significantly boosting vaccination rates. Top health official Dr. Anthony Fauci defending the practice in a hearing today on Capitol Hill.
We know that vaccines absolutely save lives. And we know that mandates work.
Even as COVID cases are down across much of the country, a worrying surge in Colorado, reminding us the pandemic is not over and adding urgency to the push to vaccinate.
President Biden has also issued vaccine requirements across the federal workforce and the healthcare sector. The White House announcing today it's extending the deadline for federal contractors to be fully vaccinated from December 8th to January 4th.
Lajas, Puerto Rico is growing the island's first outdoor medical cannabis. Our USVI News correspondent Victoria Leandra reports.
We're taking you to Lajas, Puerto Rico today, where one of the first sun-grown cannabis is currently being developed in the island.
This place for cannabis is more special than anywhere else I've ever been.
It's unfortunate that so much cannabis is grown indoors, and the singular reason it's grown indoors is because of the prohibition of cannabis. It's the illegality of cannabis that for generations have pushed people literally into basements and attics, and now in the legal industry opening up these massive buildings where inside they try to play God. They have to invest in incredible amounts of HVAC to maintain certain temperatures and to maintain certain relative humidity. When they build all of that, they consume an incredible amount of energy, which of course is incredibly destructive to the environment. Here, we don't try to play God. We try to work with nature. We have the water, we have the soil, we have the sunshine that we need for cannabis. And so when people buy Tiana's products in the future, they will not only buy an organic, healthy product, they'll actually be helping to combat climate change. They'll actually be helping the environment. They're choosing not to use indoor cannabis, which has a horrible carbon footprint, and instead they'll buy from us, where we're actually sequestering carbon in the process of making healthy products available for them.
As an agronomist, 5 years ago, I didn't even look at this industry because we were marked like a really bad thing, and everyone was just didn't look at it. Now we see the potential of it, Now we see how great it will be for not only the patients that acquire our products, but also for the whole agricultural ecosystem. We will provide new technologies, more equipment, and a lot of great people from the Puerto Rican workforce that will help develop this project and many others. So in the future, I know this will be a great industry and it will definitely help the economy.
Nosotros simplemente utilizando lo que el Valle de Lajas nos da.
The world is moving towards despenalizing and creating a regulatory market for adult use only. So that's the first thing that is important, because Puerto Rico has to introduce itself to the world, and having the climate that is perfect for growing cannabis, I think we can compete around the world. Second, most important, we need to start looking new ways about how we see drugs. We need to start with cannabis and have a health focus going forward.
Clearly, Puerto Rico has much more to offer than tourism. Its fertile land and climate are ideal for entrepreneurs to innovate, even beyond the cannabis industry. From Lajas, Puerto Rico, Victoria Leandra.